Issues of the Day, where we discuss key issues in the news. I am Nana Deniji. Joining me today in the studio are Mr. Talub Amole.
Thanks for having me.
And Mr. Adeniran Demola, an in-house news editor.
Good morning. Thank you, Nana.
On our stories for today, Operation Hatankai rescues 360 abductees in Borno State. Federal government begins Democracy Day celebrations with a special Jummah prayer in Abuja. Security operatives rescue abducted members of the Adelabu family. In Borno State, troops of the Operation Hatankai have rescued 360 abductees during an intelligence-led operation in the Mandara Mountains. The victims, comprising men, women, and children, were freed from insurgent camps and evacuated for medical care and humanitarian assistance while troops continue operations against fleeing terrorists. This has become like a daily thing now on our news, whereby people are getting rescued and more rescues and more rescues for those that actually do eventually get rescued anyways. So Mr. Adinra, I think I'm going to start the first question with you in, should I say, due to the story. Every time we hear about successful rescues, Nigerians celebrate, but why are hundreds of people still being abducted in the first place?
I think we have, okay.
Sorry, is the government succeeding or merely managing their failures now?
I wouldn't call it a failure. I think it's a success. I think how we should term it is, we should say it is reactionary rather than preventive, you know. So in rescuing the children and rescuing victims of this terrorism and banditry, we have something going for us. But in preventing it is where the problem is. And in preventing it, because I think looking at the problem generally, it is of international dimension, and we have both local and international collaborators, and we've not been able to fully grapple with the entire menace that this thing has become to us. So that's the reason why every now and then we keep falling victims to abduction. Let me tell you, like I think it was last week that Madam Said was on this show, and he mentioned something similar, something in the line that it will be difficult for us to say as a nation we want to, you know, secure every institution or every communities in Nigeria based on police citizen ratio or security men and citizen ratio. So as a result of that, we will keep having this problem until we try to look after our borders and educate our people and remove the recruitment people from the recruitment pool, where these bandits get, you know, they always get leg soldiers, foot soldiers who do all this work for them. So we have insecurity as a problem. The insecurity is being driven by poverty and economic hardship. We have poor governance in the in our local government and our border towns, and we have a lack of government presence in so many communities in Nigeria. So that's the reason why we keep having this problem. Like the case in Oyo State, for example, where they took 46 children or thereabouts. It was said that the nearest police station to that area was 2 hours away. So many ungoverned spaces in Nigeria where there is no government presence. And by that I mean either local government or state government or even federal government. So until we start looking at how to make sure government and governance get to the grassroots and our communities down in our local areas, we'll keep having this issue of abductions. However, we give commendations to the military men and our security men who were able to rescue these children. But like you said, it's becoming like a carousel.
Yes.
Of, you know, you abduct and then we rescue, we abduct. You know, why don't we just look for a way to prevent it once and for all?
If intelligence was good enough to locate these kids afterwards, this is a question I'm throwing to both of you. If the intelligence was good enough to locate these kids afterwards, after they had been kidnapped, all these people after them, you know, what is stopping us from using the same intelligence to stop the kidnapping in the first place?
There are two different intelligence. The intelligence to prevent is different from intelligence to locate. The one to prevent, it has to do with manpower and people manning the technology in question. To man our borders, it looks impossible. Technology should be able to do it, but it costs tons of money to be done.
We are borrowing money every month. I believe that should
yes.
be
So
able
okay,
to cover
so
it.
you know, of course, Nigeria does not have one problem. You know, in trying to solve one problem, we need first of all, I think the best approach is to look for international collaboration. If we say our borders are porous, we should be able to speak to our neighbors, which I think former President Muhammadu Buhari did when he had that conversation with, immediately he came in, the first countries he visited were Chad, Niger, and Cameroon, who were neighbors to Nigeria in terms of this insecurity is concerned. And he had something going for them. We had a I think multinational JTF, something like that, which I think the erstwhile Chief of Army Staff, Yusuf Borotai, he was working in that place when Buhari saw him and then brought him to become Chief of Army Staff. We had that going for us until recently when there was a military coup in Niger Republic and Mali and some other countries in West Africa, and that agreement became shaky. So this spike, I think, is as a result of us not having good relationship with these neighbors. If you have a good neighbor, you can work together to secure your borders. But if you don't have neighbors that you are on talking terms with, it will be a struggle.
Mr. Talib, you know, I don't know, is it that we are now at the point whereby Nigerians have stopped applauding the rescues, or do you think, what do you think would be the breaking point for Nigerians to stop applauding the rescues and ask for accountability when it comes to the kidnappings and the banditry?
Yes, thanks for the question. For me, Nigerian government has a lot to do in its security architecture. And we've made to realize that we have both kinetic and non-kinetic way of managing security. If I mean kinetic, talking about using military, like Nigeria is presently using military force to pursue these kidnappers. But we've seen so far in the last 2014 or so, more than a decade now, we've seen that we are only fighting the effect. So I think we need to start looking at non-kinetic and talking about issue of governance, fighting corruptions, and strengthening our borders, our immigration policy, and other stuff like that. I think in that area, we've not been able to do much. If you look at countries like the West, say America, we just talk about World Cup, where some certain security measures have been put in place to safeguard their country. They are fighting, you know, the potentials of having kind of insecurity or whatever I call safety laxity before it even happens. So what Nigeria is doing about that? So we really need to look inwards and get this matter addressed once and for all. So I think using military is good. However, there's still a lot to do in the area of governance, fighting corruptions, and also strengthening our immigration
So I would
policies.
ask you again, with the recent kidnappings, these oil kidnappings, do you think Nigerians have reached their breaking point with the kidnappings, or do you think there's a further breaking point that Nigerians can get to before they ask for accountability?
Of course, there may be more coming if Nigeria is not put its acts together, because when Chibok girls happened in 2014, we thought that is the highest breaking point for us, that afterward there shouldn't be anything like that. But we have series of kidnapping of high scale. So I think if still we have not learned and we have not done something reasonable, definitely I am not praying for it, but we might experience such again. But like I said earlier on, if the government is serious about governance and they took those measures that I mentioned earlier, I think it can be achievable. We can put everything under control.
Let me just quickly add.
All right.
It is crucial for us to understand that most of these abductions, they have a pattern, and that pattern usually is in areas of Nigeria where there is mining activities. If we are not taking our mining seriously the way we take our petroleum, you know, extractive resources, petroleum is our chief revenue maker as a nation, and we've taken it serious. We've deployed military, we've deployed all sort of things to protect that situation. If we are not doing that same thing with the mining, we'll keep having this problem. If you remember very well, I don't know how long ago you've been pretty much, I mean, for a while now, maybe like 30, 40 years. No, not 30, let's say 25, 20 years. There used to be kidnappings in and around the Niger Delta, until we looked for a stick and carrot approach to it, whereby we were able to secure and minimize that situation, whereby we don't even have this this conversation again about abductions in that area. It used to be very rife. So the same approach that we used to, look after our resources in the Niger Delta should be used to look at areas where there are mining activities. Government should involve itself fully and use government resources to protect that situation and protect people of that region.
Okay, thank you very much. On our second story, in Abuja, the federal government commenced activities for the 2027 Democracy Day celebrations with a special Jumu'at prayer at the National Mosque. Vice President Kashin Shatima, Governor Abdurrahman Abdurazak, and other dignitaries attended the event, while Chief Imam Sheikh Idris Haruna Muhammad called on Nigerians to support government efforts in promoting security, democracy, and national development. Now, I think this should be simple enough for us to answer. Nigeria has held democracy for decades, yet insecurity, poverty, and unemployment remains major concerns in our economy. Is democracy truly delivering for the ordinary Nigerian?
Okay.
Okay. I think it's both ways, the way you want to look at it. For some people, they will say, okay, of course, Nigeria is delivering on a promise since the return to democracy in 1999. And for some, they will say no, they've not experienced or felt the impact of democratic governance in this country. So it's the way you see it. But if you look at overview and the recent data, where we have the data, from NBS, that over 160 Nigerians are facing multidimensional poverty, and we are a population of 350 above. So if you just suppose that, you will see that okay, many Nigerians are still not feeling the impact. However, I can say that we've made progress since 1999 up to date in some certain area in terms of our infrastructure, in terms of our capital inflow and some other stuff like that. But the question is how government will need to trickle down those effects to the populace.
Okay, so you're saying we've made improvements in our economy. So if our economy is improving, why are Nigerians saying their quality of life is declining?
Yeah, that's the kind of I'm thinking like look at a very good vocabulary to express that, because when talking about growth might be different from development. For instance, now we could not say that as our certain economic data has not improved since 1999. That's a big joke. So the point is that our economy is growing, but the main question, like I said earlier on, is that how government will make this growth turn to human development for all Nigerians, and that has to do with our governance style. Situation whereby we earmark large sum or huge sum of money for our lawmakers, our political office holders, and the little the remaining part of the budget only go for the populace. Let me give an instance of what I'm talking about. We just had the court delivery when in Lagos, a federal high court just make unlawful the last purchase of National Assembly of SUV bulletproof cars of 110 billion naira. In that particular budget for that year, that was 2023 budget, lawmakers budgeted for themselves over 110 billion naira for SUV and other support allowance. Meanwhile, for the whole Nigerian populace that is experiencing high cost of living, they only budgeted 500 billion naira. That's almost like half of what the lawmakers. And you look at the number of lawmakers, how many are their numbers? Look at the number of Nigerians. So the point is, I'm making is that most of our our revenues that we are generating are being cornered by a political office holder. So it's high time that government make available more resources for Nigerians so that they can also feel the impact of what democracy.
Could I weigh in?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, so first of all, I think what we need to tell ourselves about democracy is that it is not a rapid system of government it's not a system of government that encourages rapid development. It's a very, very slow system of government. It's not a system where you say you put in small effort today and then you see big effort the next day. No, it takes a while, and that's because it has to go through some certain processes. So as democracy, improve the life of Nigerians the way Nigerians want, perhaps no. That's why most Nigerians are saying, no, we've not seen dividends of democracy and all that. But it is a journey and it's not a destination. That's what we have to tell ourselves. But if we look at from 1999 till date, the conversations we are having, the core conversation is about poverty, development, infrastructure deficits, and insecurity. These conversations are still ongoing today. So Nigerians are right to point out that we've not seen development. However, in terms of our freedom of expression, in terms of liberalism generally, I think democracy has helped Nigerians because everybody can come out now and criticize government. It wasn't like that before in the past. So it's a two-way street if you look at it technically. On the issue of economy, fighting insecurity and poverty alleviation, it has not delivered. But on the issue of freedom of expression, having a liberal society, yes, it has.
Okay, thank you very much. Subscribe to Sin TV on Facebook, Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, and TikTok. On to our third but not last story of the day, which has been making rounds now on social media. In Oyo State, security operatives has rescued members of family of Minister of Power, Chief Adelabu, following their abduction by gunmen. Authorities confirmed the victims were recovered safely after coordinated rescue efforts, while investigations continue to identify and arrest those responsible. As of yesterday evening, we had the videos making rounds on social media of their abduction. Now, the rescue was commendable, but many Nigerians are asking, would the response have been swift if they were victims of not a political party?
Well, they were not victims of a political party.
I shouldn't have said it like that.
Yeah.
If the victims were not connected to a high-profile government official.
I think what we need to tell ourselves is that a crime was committed and a crime was solved. If the military failed in securing those children and their mother, we will still blame, the system for failing them. Now that the system has corrected whatever failure, which is to rescue these children, I don't think we should go down that route. What we should look at is that in the earlier story, about 360 people were rescued by the military in Borno State. Were they connected to any government people? Not at all. So when Nigerians look at things myopically from that point of view, I question their sense of objectivity. The military are working hard. The security system are working hard. They could do better, fair enough, yeah. But they are really working hard. And I think we need to tell ourselves as a people that we are really at war. Because we sit down in the cities, we have our freedom, we move about, we don't really know what is happening in Thailand and how many people are putting their life in danger to try and protect us living in this city and protect Nigeria as a country. So the negativism against the government, against the people who fight to secure our liberties and our freedom in this country, or making us secure, we should try and remove that negativity and support them, because they are the really good people fighting against the bad people. The bad people are the terrorists, the bandits who attack our communities, our children's schools, and everywhere that we want to live in a sane, every sane environment that we want to thrive in. So those are the bad people. The good people are the military fighting, and we should support them. I don't think that conversation should even come to the fore to ask if they were children of the poor, will not rescue them. There are millions, or rather thousands, that the military rescue every day. So that question should.
I think
Mr.
Talib is against this.
Yes,
this statement of yours.
Opinion, because the point is that before opinion forms, people look at the trends, whether we like it or not. There have always been preferential treatment for highly politically exposed people in Nigeria, and Nigerians have seen that on several occasions, talking about healthcare deliveries, talking about anything you wanted to do in this country. If you don't really have somebody out there, you are not likely to get it. So the point is that two events happened in your state. We have those kids, teachers that were abducted a couple of weeks before this particular incident happened, and government up to today have not really, give any assurance. Though there have been speeches, there have been statements released, but the point is that when are they going to be released? So this particular incident, of course, congratulations to Adelabu families for that street actions. However, people will feel like, okay, when are we going to get back those 46 children, of which the 2 years is the youngest? They are seeing the bush. So Nigerians' pause is that, of course, all life are equal, but people are thinking towards that of school children and teacher abductions that happen in Oriri local government. So I can feel the reason why people are saying what they are saying, because this one came quickly, because they are attributed to a particular political office.
Just to cement that side, of the conversation. I think we must look, the people who abducted Adelabu's children went to live in the city. They took, they were urban abductors. You know, they took the people illegally and then went somewhere to stay. These other people went into the bush to stay. Those are two different issues. Two different issues. You cannot use one to judge the other. The bandit that raised you from the forest is different from the bandits that want to steal you and hide you in the house. Those are two different issues. So I think that perhaps facilitated the reason. I'm not ruling out the fact that, you know, Nigerian the people, if you're at the top, you get preferential treatment, and, you know, people swing into action. They want to use it for a political statement. That is a fact. But the terrain upon which these people operate are different. People who will lay you on the road when you are driving on the highway are different from people who steal you from the city and then go and hide you in the city. So, you know, it's you know, the police said that it was intelligence driven, meaning that they use technology to track. But if you're in the bush, if you don't have that technology to track people in the bush, it becomes difficult. And then again, I do not want to believe that security people have not in any way scoped the abductors of those 46 children. I think they probably have them somewhere. But remember that these people, they are reputed for using children as human shield. And that is perhaps a factor why we've not have this case resolved. But like the final summation is that we should have preventive measures instead of, you know, reactive measures.
Okay, so if security agencies can mobilize massive resources, because from what you showed, there were massive resources in finding the Adelabu family. If they can mobilize massive resources to find prominent victims, why can't the same level of urgency be applied to every kidnapping case?
Yeah, that's what we are talking about how we are managing our security architecture in Nigeria. I want to quite agree with what Mr. Adeniran just said, that why are we not even putting our intelligence forward before they happen? If you look, I want to mention America and other developed countries again. You know, at times, the way they operate their own security, even before you, as you are planning it, or maybe they just see you like a potential threat, insecurity threat, you're already picked up. There's nowhere for you. But unlike Nigeria case, we allow it to happen not once, twice. You know, it has even become common things in our community now. Every day you hear about kidnapping. Even there are some that are not even reported that are happening as well. We've had a situation whereby kidnapper can just point out to somebody's wife or daughter and tell the parent that they needed them, and there's nothing they will do, and that they will just come and pick them up and stuff like that. So I believe that we really need to redesign the way we are managing these situations, which we've discussed earlier. And the point is that what are we doing about our immigration policy? What are we looking at our border, our porous border patrol and other stuff, until government is looking at the causes of this insurgency and treat it the way it's supposed to be treated. I think we are still far from reaching the solution.
Just to finally add, there are also cases of copycatism, which is that people who threw out false information saying that there had been abductions, and then the police spend resources, go and investigate and find out that it's false. It's a false card. People are throwing falsehood out there on social media, you know, using the whatever small lean resources we have as a nation to try and prevent these problems. People are using it, you know, anyhow. So those issues are there, and they are like I call it cornucopia because they are interwoven. You see people who wants to use it for, you know, immediate gains. They are not bandits, they are not terrorists, but it's a means of livelihood for them. They want to just quickly use it to get quick money. They lie about the abduction of their parents or their loved ones and all that kind of problem. So the problem is huge. Societal education too is key. As much as we are using heavy stick on the government apparatus and the security people, we must as well, you know, question ourselves as a people too, to say, you know what, do we really want this problem to solve, or is everything cruise for social media or for engagement and for money or whatever they call it nowadays?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Adeniran. I want to say a big thank you to Mr. Talib as well for joining me today on the show. Thanks to both my guests for being able to join me and for this tit-tat that we had today. This is Citizen TV. I am Nana Deneji. Have a lovely day.